many headshots he has. I'm moving her.
Not so funny now, is it?
Taking it.
Electronic spiders? Come on,
Us
man.
against the world. That's 3. Wow.
By the eye of Agamotto!
That's amazing. Final score: 1-2. The mission area is yours. Double KO. I can feel your pain. Second shift. That's 3. Wow, 4 in a row. 5.
This. Please, give me a challenge.
Double KO. That's 3.
3 straight.
Wow, 4 in a row.
This officially makes us
Another
BFFs.
fearsome foe.
Pinged an end. Get him.
5. That's amazing.
Baby! 8 elements, jerks!
I am ready to put on a show.
By the eye of
right? Add that to my greatest hits!
Stay down.
8 elements, jerks!
Double KO.
Never fall!
Hey y'all, what you just saw was my friend Costco, the current Marvel Rivals Championship winner, owner and leader of Team Drago, and 5 times Marvel Rivals Championship winner, playing Hawkeye and Phoenix. And my friend Maka, Season 1 Marvel Rivals Championship winner, playing Star-Lord and Magneto. They both use different setups, with Maka being a slower setup, but also having 500 cents, and Costco being almost max cents on both, which is very ridiculous, but it is what he likes and he does very well with it. That's a little bit different than what I use. I use 3435, which is 175 cent speed, and we'll get into that in a little bit. Maka's looks a little closer to this, and Costco uses this. Pretty ridiculous. Anyways, let's get into the video now. Costco is pretty ridiculous and likes having his settings very high, so his setting is not going to look quite like this. It looks like this. He uses basically max sensitivity, 500/500 with this scale. However, you get to pick your own sensitivity for this curve, so you don't have to play at 500/500. Most people, myself and Maka included, are much more closer to this, right around 200. Oh, too far. Right around 200. So, as you can see, the curve scales and can be set to a bunch of different settings in order to pick what you want for your speed of your aiming zone. You're going to have this aiming area, which is the ramp and the plateau, followed by this big spike here, which is your movement area. This spike gets you to 500 cents no matter what you pick for your aiming area, so you can pick something that's comfortable for you and still use it to have maximum movement on any character you want. This is a general setup. It's meant to be used on every character at the same setting. That way you can practice having muscle memory across multiple characters and having consistency on your movements. So let's get started. For the very first setting, you're going to have 500 and 500, which sounds ridiculous. However, as you can see, we're going to scale most of the curve down so it doesn't actually reach 500 until right here at the end. So, 500 and 500, and if you want, you can scale this down to 400 to have a stagger that is better for hitting headshots, but arguably a little bit worse for movement. Then, we're going to swap from under advanced from classic or exponential or linear to dual zone S curve. This gives us the most control over the data points that we use in order to make our setup. What's important is that custom minimum range is going to be 50. We want to have our anchor point right here in the middle so that we have a solid foundation for a curve to be based on as we move forward. We set our custom maximum range to 99 so that our 500 zone, this one at the very end, is the smallest possible zone we can have. This means that it's only the last 1 point of your stick, so the last 1% of your stick, which is essentially your outside dead zone anyways. Now here, this is where we get into what your setting is. For this setup, what you do is you take what you want for your sense and divide it by 5. In this case, we have 200, so 200 divided by 5 is 40, and we put 40 here. If I wanted to do 300, I would up these to 59 and 60, because 300 divided by 5 is 60. That would set this to 300. If you wanted to do 100, which is pretty slow, but doable, you would use 20. 100 divided by 5 is 20, and that sets it here. You can see that this goes up and down, and as it goes up and down, it changes how fast or how slow our sensitivity curve goes. So while Costco is pretty crazy, and he's all the way up here at 500, most people are much closer to something around this. About 35 and 36. This is set to 180. 180 divided by 5 is 36. And this is what I would recommend to most people if you don't know what to start with. If you do already have sensitivity that you're comfortable with, let's say you're playing 220 on a classic curve, then use that. So 220 divided by 5 is 44. So we would use 44 here. And the only rule for minimum curve statics is it needs to be one less than custom maximum dual zone curve. So this is how you do your scaling. Divide the sensitivity you want, usually what you are already using, by 5 and put that here. Then take that, subtract 1 and put that here. It's okay to round as long as these two are 1 point apart. Then for eye gaze targeting minimum and maximum dead zone, we use 0 and 0 if possible, and 1 for this if you get stick drift. This curve gets a remarkably low amount of stick drift, so anything above 1 is too much. These two, the boosts, are extra delays that we don't need and therefore don't add. I know they're called boosts, but it's actually extra response time. You can see that in the description over to the right. Max dead zone latency response time we put at 100. This sounds like a lot, but without it, our ramp up happens too quickly and we can accidentally mix up our micro adjustments with our 500 boost at the end. And we don't want that. We want to separate our two zones, our movement area from our aiming area, and this gives us the max separation. Max dead zone response time is the amount of response time for your average adjustments. This roughly equates to 30. Well, this equates to 30, but it roughly equates to how long average human reaction time is. So we use 30 here. Now for these are inverts and they're personal preference, but I've never seen anybody use them. Aim assist window size, you want to go with something small. The reason why is larger window sizes track multiple targets at once. So if you have a larger window size and you have two targets in the same window, they can be fighting each other for attention. And you want to focus on just one target at a time. So even though it says 0, this still exists and is the minimum possible window size. Aim assist strength, we want to have between 90 and 100 for the most part. There are other setups that use others, but 100 is too much. 100 pulls your aim past your target because it pulls so hard that it's so strong, it pulls you farther than you want to go. So 95 is a nice middle ground where it's very strong still, but not so strong that it's pulling you past where you want to go. For our ease-ins, we use the same ease-in across all 3 types so that we have consistency for muscle memory purposes. I like 40 so that you have a nice snappy aim assist that's still fairly smooth. It's good for hit scan, but also combined with the 95, it's good for projectile. And melee heroes tend to be hybrid heroes anyways. Spider-Man has his web shooters, Thor has his lightning form. A lot of people who are melee heroes still have some sort of ranged attack. So we use the same here that we use for the other 2. Disable aim assist to max dead zone. I'm not really sure why, but enabling this makes our controls feel really floaty and not very precise. So we keep this off. Close range aim assist we're going to turn on. That allows us to have aim assist on for melee characters and shotgun characters and machine gun characters. Anytime you're up close and personal, this can be beneficial. Now, character movement input dead zone. This is kind of strange, but we put this at 50 and this at 45. We want to have it towards the center of our stick so that we're not activating it too early or too late. We want to have it be at the very outside of our stick. But then we want this gap to be as small as possible so that the ramp up is as small of a distance as possible. This is as close as we can get to WASD movement on a controller. It'll make your strafe speed quite a bit faster, as you can see in my example. So, this is my strafe speed now. And for Thor, when I do a turn, I can do a turn very quickly. This is using the outside of my stick. If we look at this graph, the very outside of my stick, this last dead zone over here, that is your movement area. So when my stick physically collides with the rest of the controller, and you can feel it touch the rest of your controller and your right thumb, that is your 500 zone. This is what happens when I push my stick so far that I can't push it any farther. And you can feel it in your thumb because you can feel your stick hit the edge. This is for movement, not for aiming. Aiming with this is very hard unless you're Costco, in which case you can aim with anything. So, on a character like Thor, this allows me to do different grabs and bring enemies to my team if I want to. I can also do nice movement around corners and over obstacles. However, again, this is pretty unwieldy for anybody who's not insanely accurate. So, I like to use 35, 34. This is 175 for my sensitivity, and I use that so that I can be accurate while still having max movement. So even though I would normally have to sacrifice movement or aim to pick one of the two, you don't actually have to. You can have both at the same time. So I've got aim. This is with the inside of my stick. And then the second I go to max, 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 here's the ramp up. Ramps up to 500 and gets very quick. So, what you have to get used to in order to use this curve is the feeling of which zone am I in and picking which zone for which type of movement you want. Do you want accuracy and targeting? That's the inside of your stick. Do you want max movement? That's the outside of your stick. Once you get used to feeling which zone you're in, either colliding with the rest of your controller, which is the outside of your stick, or not colliding with the rest of your controller, which is the inside of your stick, then you can use this to do all sorts of nice tracking, but also fast movement. Now this sounds good on every character, and it pretty much is. But it can be used to do a lot of tricks that you can do on PC that are supposed to not be able to be done on controller, but that can be done on controller. It can be accurate, but I can also... Oh, just turn my... Hold on. Let me turn my cooldowns off. Okay. I can also all over the place, right? So the exact same setup that I use on Black Panther, I can use on Wolverine. I don't have all my settings are the same for every character. I don't change anything. I can do the Wolverine grab.
You had that come.
I can do, I already showed you the Thor grab. I can do the Winter Soldier grab and punch.
I'm just a soldier trying to do his job. Not today.
Follow up with shots. I can do all sorts of movement on Star-Lord.
It's time to do the right thing. Just gotta figure out what that is.
I can do max Spidey swings and max Venom swings.
Doing the right thing just makes you feel good, doesn't it? Pretty sure those are bad guys.
I'm not the best at Spidey, forgive me. Even though I am lowered on them, not my jam usually. But you can be accurate, and you can do max swings on both Spidey and Venom. I'm a little better at Venom, let me show that.
Unlike other so-called heroes, we are not afraid to get our hands dirty.
So, you can still be accurate as well as fast on pretty much any character. Even a character like Thing, who you wouldn't think this would matter too much for, I can do figure eights with his run on a controller. And still lock on for punches.
Double KO.
180, back to punching. Even somebody like Doctor Strange doesn't have a ton of movement.
All those
I can aim.
I quietly put out, you have no idea.
And turn around and shield. Back to my team. Back to somebody flanking us. Back to my team. Finally, somebody like Gambit or Luna Snow. It's good for
a long way. Big easy.
movement, getting away from divers, as well as avoiding divers and looking in their direction to fight them when they do approach.
That's 3.
Even somebody like Punisher, you can't be you can't be outran
Only
by
cowards see shades of gray.
Captain America, who would normally outrun your turret. I can aim.
New entry in the war journal.
Double KO.
I can also move my stick at max speed. So that's the benefit of this setup, is you get accuracy and movement at the same time, which is something that you usually have to choose one or the other for. And I don't think that's what we need to do on controller. I think we can be just as good as everybody else, if not better, using both accuracy and movement together. So, that's our setup. We get
Dare the very
accuracy
gates of hell to save Asgard.
and movement.
Awaken fury and smite the foe.
That's something that you usually have to sacrifice one or the other for.
That's 3.
I am Odinson.
So,
Wow, 4 in a row.
you can basically copy these settings entirely, with the exception of these two here. This needs to be whatever the sense is that you're going for divided by 5, and this needs to be 1 less. The rest you can pretty much copy just as they are right here. Alright, thanks for watching. I hope that helps. Thank you.